Now available on Tata Sky channel number 526.
Being raw is the new cliche, but when luxury is understated with a twist of rawness, what you get is the Kumpal Vaid's touch. Hello and welcome to the Interior Show. I'm Aditi Singh and joining me today is Kumpal Vaid herself.
Hi, I'm Kumpal Vaid. I'm an interior designer. I have my own design firm called Purple Backyard. We are into interior designing and interior styling for spaces. We bring to the table fascinating, refreshing and eclectic design ideas. Design, for me, stands for an expression of myself, and it is also about experimenting sometimes. I think now our signature style has become about, breaking away from the stereotype or the cliches. I'm definitely inspired by, intriguing ideas around me. Being in this profession, I think I should learn how to be a learner, because that's what's going to help me grow and reach the next level, or, take my projects to the next level and satisfy my clients to that extent.
Hi Kumpal, a very warm welcome to you for joining us on the show.
Thank you, Aditi. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to begin by asking you that you're known for breaking cliches, right? What according to you is cliche?
Cliches are things that, a person thinks that, okay, I cannot go ahead with, or this shouldn't be tried when it comes to your home. This will dull my space, or this is something that generally isn't used. But, those could be very simple things, and, using that could actually give your space a different kind of a twist. So there was a client who said that, over my dining table, I definitely need a crystal chandelier or something. So I was like, okay, you have an opulent setting, you need an understated house. Why not offset the entire look with a nice industrial lighting? It took a little while to convince him, but the final result was brilliant. I mean, it was so appreciated by the client that he couldn't believe that the space comes out even better with something which actually he thought wouldn't ever belong in that zone.
So on that note, let's talk about the house that we are in. What was the brief of the client?
It's a family home. So the client was very clear about one thing, that the house has to have a lot of utility. Two main things were, hiding as much as storage possible, making it look seamless. So as you enter the house, in the living room, okay, there is this built-in behind the dining, which appears like a very beautiful paneling on the wall. You don't realize, but it's actually a storage. Then when you move to the kitchen, we've kept it so sleek, so the overhead storage is kept white, so it blends in with the wall. So again, you have a lot of storage, but visually it isn't really standing out. So these are a few examples.
Kumpal, apart from storage, another very important predominant factor in a house, I think, is the floor, right? It's a grey colored floor, which is very unusual.
We stumbled upon this when we were outsourcing. I actually fell in love with this. I was like, why not build this house around a grey floor? First this floor happened, then the other color scheme happened. So
the decor came in later.
Later. The story is built around the floor, really.
So how did you go about the decor then?
They did not want an overly blingy home. So I thought that, okay, I have a color which is grey. I could beautifully play along with whites and a cool color scheme. So playing with, greens, corals, blues, those are the kind of colors that we went ahead with. The other one was that we thought that, the ornamentation or the highlights in the house could be with your, very small spurts of gold and silver.
And it gave you more freedom. Also, would you agree to experiment with other elements in the house apart from the floor? For example, the upholstery and the wallpapers that you use.
So one of their suggestions were that why can't we use fabric on the wall? But then I reminded them that
you have a very creative client.
Exactly. So we've been lucky that way. In the living room, we've gone ahead with a wallpaper that looks more like cork sheet.
Okay.
but again, it has a metallic tinge on it. So you feel like it's a wall texture. You're confused that what it is actually looking like, but it's actually giving you a feel of cork sheet, but in a grey color.
Yeah.
Again, we've repeated the grey on the wall. So we had enough on the floor, but then with the kind of color scheme that we went, we could again use grey on the wall as well.
Okay.
So that's one.
Yeah.
Then
In the bedroom, master bedroom?
In the master bed, we've used a wallpaper that actually looks like the Sasha tiles, but it isn't. So, and it looks like an artwork made out of those tiles. But again, it's just a wallpaper, you can maintain it. The other room again has a wallpaper print, which, you know, looks like a hand-done fabric print.
Wow, there's actually a wallpaper that gives a feel of a hand-printed work done.
So you actually walk into the room, and I've seen my client, everybody actually going and trying to feel it. You still can't feel that, okay, you know, this is very papery, wallpaperish.
Yeah.
You actually feel it's fabric.
When it comes to the cost, in comparison to normal, ordinary wallpapers, it must be placed a little higher than.
See, the thing with wallpapers is, luckily, it starts at a very minimal range. So you can pick well.
What was the idea behind having a wallpaper on the ceiling?
So, as you know, these are two different houses. We had to knock down the wall in the center, you know, get the houses together. So it was very important for the client and obviously for me to, you know, not make it look like there are two different spaces.
Okay.
So one very important element here is the false ceiling, where we've used a band that connects the living room to the kitchen. Okay, and the way to highlight that band was to kind of, you know, make it stand out in some way. So we got this wallpaper which looked like a gold, you know, fabric, a metallic fabric, okay, which we put it on the false ceiling, and it looks so seamless and yet very understated and connects the two spaces together. Then again, we come down to the floor. As you enter, you have this little hook matching pattern that we call it in the technical term, happening on the floor in the Italian marble. So we've put 4 marbles together in a way that it kind of has this, you know, diamond pattern form,
On the floor.
which is right at the entrance where this house actually is divided.
Yeah.
So that was one of the ideas, to have this floor in this place and, you know, distract from that element and actually have your attention towards the floor.
Since there is an open kitchen,
Right.
you've actually sort of tried to camouflage that through running the same flooring in the kitchen.
Yeah, and having a highlight pattern on the floor. The other way that we've tried to, you know, camouflage the kitchen is we've got this beautiful island counter happening. It also works as a breakfast counter. 2 people eating in the morning could, you know, might as well be on the breakfast counter. It's faster. And yeah, it saves time.
So one can create as much clutter they want on an island table.
And you don't really have to do anything about, you know, on the dining table, leaving it, you know, as is. And so yeah.
Also tell me about some other elements that so far we have not discussed, where you've actually gone away from the regular cliche.
So very interesting element of this house is, as you enter, you know, you end up also seeing the beautiful basin counter that we've created out of marble. And the most exciting feature about that basin is the tap. So it's just a little cylindrical tube hanging from the ceiling. So, you know, it creates this sense of whimsy to it when you know, walk towards it. You're wondering where the water really comes out from, where it's just a tube.
Until
you
you
just have to
turn on the tap and suddenly it just comes from somewhere.
Yeah, so, you know, you just have to rotate the ring below the tube and, you know, water falls. The other interesting element here in the house is the curtains. With the curtains, what we've done is you have a concept of solid and sheer. But instead of taking it, you know, one behind the other, what we've done is we've just put one fitment and hung both the curtains on one.
How are they not overlapping if they're connected with one fitment?
No, they're one after the other.
Okay.
So in the day, you could first pull the sheer,
Yeah.
okay, have the day curtain on. By the night, you want to completely cut out the view, you could have the solid. The sheer in the center becomes a band, adding to the, you know, aesthetics of it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kumpal, for all those insights. Today,
Right.
you've told me about so many things. You've told me about flooring, storage, continuity, how to use an island table in a
Right.
kitchen to
Right,
sort of,
right.
not make the kitchen stand out, especially when you have an open kitchen. Very useful insights. On that note, I'm sure there's a lot more hidden
Yes.
in the next client's place.
Definitely.
So I want to go and explore that as soon as possible.
Let's go.
And we are joining you right now from a house that is a standing example of how opulence can also be understated. And also joining me today is the owner of the house, Mr. Danish Khan. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hi.
So tell me something, when you first stepped into this house, I'm sure it probably looked nothing like what it is right now. So how did you imagine it to be?
Actually, we had contacted a few interior decorators. Then we came across Kumpal. And basically, we found her very affable, very friendly. And she would listen to us, she would give suggestions too. And my wife got along very well with her. At that point of time, we had told her that the house has to be bright, it has to be sunny, it has to look open.
And what was your wife's first reaction when she saw the house complete?
And she's been jumping around
And
since
you?
yesterday. I'm okay. I'm okay.
You're just okay.
I don't
it's
get,
a beautiful house that you're
I don't
sitting in
get
and you're
overexcited.
just okay.
I'm not ever overexcited, so it's good. Nice house.
So, Kumpal, you tell me, since the theme of the house is very pastel, very neutral,
Right.
what was the revolving thought around this?
You know, when I met them first, on a first day outsourcing, they set their heart upon this couch right here. So, they really fell in love with that. And the other thing was this painting, which was, given to my client by her father. So these were two things that we had to have in the space. So that's something that I set my story around.
Mr. Danish, I'm sure you love every space in this house, but there must be that one space which is really close to your heart.
My study over there.
Okay.
I have a lot of books which have not been put up as yet. Probably 5,000 or 10,000 books.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah, I
Kumpal has to
think-
manage.
Yeah.
We were talking about the elements in the living area.
Right.
So, tell me about that.
So, every element is kind of connected here. So, if you see, the center table is connected to the side table with the use of mirror, then again that follows into your console, which is next to the entrance, which again has a little inlay of mirror. So that's how we connected the furniture. Then, your upholstery has tones of, the similar colors, like, your neutral beige, then a little bit of, blue from the couch, which, transforms to the dining.
How have you broken the stereotype when it comes to lighting?
What we've done with the lighting is we've stuck to, 3 different kinds of lighting, which is the general, the ambient, and the look light, or a highlight light for that matter.
But you haven't used a chandelier in this house, have you?
I definitely have over the dining. It's not a typical choice for, this space, also because the credit goes to him. It was, one of his, choices again that, okay, we should do something like this. Another interesting element of lighting is this lamp here. Would look at it and say that it's made out of marble, but it's actually made out of wood.
So the white color that's been used here, is that a special kind?
No, just your regular color, which has been put on it and buffed. And yeah, it's a very easy, actually a DIY thing that you could do at home.
So Mr. Danish, tell me something. Is there anything else apart from the couch that you picked up for the house?
Yeah, I picked up the dining table because I liked it, I loved it. I loved it at the first sight.
How do you think is the dining table unique than other dining tables? Is it the texture? It's not
It's the
wood.
use of, your back painted
Glass, I believe.
and the bottom in stone, carved stone. You have 4 chairs matching each other, but 2 head chairs, which are wrapped in different fabrics. So, which again kind of makes the chair stand out, but yet blend in.
Well, Mr. Danish, I must say that it's a beautiful house and Kumpal has done a wonderful job. Thank you so much for having me over.
Thank you, Aditi. Thank you so much.
And Kumpal, beauty is a sight to behold, so why don't we go out there and unravel it?
Let's do that.
Well, Kumpal, I must say that I've seen many 4-poster beds, but something never like this. I mean, it's one of its kind.
We started out with, the idea of having a four-poster in this space. We went out sourcing. We stumbled upon this bed. This is a cabana-style bed, which you would normally see outdoors, near the pool, near the beach, something outdoorish. But my suggestion, and then the client also approved of it, and they weren't really scared to try it. So we were like, what the hell, let's do it. Then the other thing with the console is we played the height. It's again, at 18 inches where, it does not visually affect you even while you're walking around the room.
Okay.
So those are one of the elements. Then again, the selection of the curtain. We've gone with linens and, those kind of tones and taking it full height. So again, you're not visually cutting any space.
And how about the choice of upholstery here?
Again, if you see, upholstery is really neutral, yet it has a little color of that lavender,
Of color
blues,
here,
but very, very subtly, because that kind of lets the other things take center stage.
To the master bedroom, you've given it a pretty exotic look.
Right.
I'm wondering, what is the kind of treatment you've given to the guest bedroom?
So we've started with giving them, 2 separate beds, expecting that, at any given point in time, you not necessarily have the same family coming in, there could be different people coming in at the same time. And the other thing is a very, very important tip would be that give storage for both your guests.
Paramount.
Make them feel they were wanted, and we've made arrangements for them.
I have sort of spoken on this front on storage many times before, but never has anyone actually told that it's of paramount importance to have proper storage, especially in a guest room.
Definitely,
we tend
that's
to
a
forget
must-have.
that. All right. So also, since Mr. Danish made a special mention of his study room and the amount of effort that has gone to sort of accommodate his 5,000 books and probably many more that will be coming up. So why don't we go ahead and have a look as to how you've accommodated that.
Let's do that. I'm excited.
So this is the study room we were talking about.
Right.
How did you make it special for Mr. Danish to ensure that he spends as much time as he wants feeling comfortable?
So what we did is we came up with this unit here, okay? What we've done with the unit is we've not gone full height. So he could also display his, possessions, his books, his knickknacks that he's, collected over the travels that he's had. Other interesting feature to this unit is there is a hidden fridge inside this unit.
And
right.
Why is there a fridge in the study room?
Because they love entertaining guests. So, he would want to get his guests here, entertain them. So that was one of the requirements. You don't see many colors in this room, but there's a little hint of color with the sofa cum bed that we've got it. Then instead of having your conventional fan, we have this beautiful twig light. Then there's a unit, the other unit in this room for the TV. If you look at it, you feel like, okay, this is one whole unit, either opens up as drawers or shutters. But technically, on the right side, it opens up as drawers, and on the left as shutters, which is seamlessly blended into the design and creates a sense of whimsy. So that's one interesting element that we brought into this space.
Can I also have a look, since we talked about the fridge being concealed? Ah, well, it's so conveniently is fitting in there. So I've pretty much by now known that you don't take the conventional route. And I must thank you for having me over, because it was a real treat to watch this house.
Thanks a lot, and it was fun for me too.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the prettiest of them all? The next time you find yourself asking that question, you might just have some half a dozen mirrors taking away the monopoly of the mirror on the wall to answer that question. You're still with me on the Interior Show, and now I'm going to have Kumpal tell us how you can use mirrors than just using them in dressing tables and window panes. So Kumpal, in the two houses that we saw, you've used mirrors in a very unconventional way. So what is the design potential that mirrors actually hold?
I think mirror can, extend to so many spaces and furniture pieces. In one of my houses, I have put it on a center table, a side table. It extends onto a console unit. Mirrors could also, obviously be used to create illusions, space illusions, make
Exactly.
smaller spaces bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, there's endless use of it.
So I'm sure there are different kinds of mirrors that can be used as decorative elements.
The one that we all know is the regular look mirror, the clear mirror. But then there are brown mirrors, there are black mirrors, there are, broken mirrors, there are antique mirrors. Antique mirrors are nothing but, mirrors which have, worn out with time. They've come back in fashion so much so that, people are actually creating those, because obviously you can't have the perfect size available from the old lot, so you actually make it. So it can also work as a beautiful wall art. You don't have to maintain it, you don't have to bother about how old it's going to get, how bad it's going to get. It just, the older, the badder it gets, the better it looks.
Since it's delicate, it is difficult to maintain, right? So isn't it heavy on the pocket?
Not really. If, for example, it is used on a centerpiece, so you use the right mirror, bevel it on all sides, make sure that it's stuck onto ply or the base that you're sticking on to with a proper use of silicone. You make sure that there are no sharp edges, and if you follow these few tips, then I think you're good to go.
Well, thank you so much, Kumpal. That was a mirror into the world of interior designing, I must say. But for us now, it's time to reflect on some of our viewers' queries.
Okay.
So let's start with them. Sejal writes into us mentioning she loves the color gold and wants to introduce it in her decor in a subtle manner. How can she work around that?
So, you could do golds with your hardware, very subtly placed all around the house. With your doorknobs, with your handles, that's what I mean by hardware. Then, gold could be introduced in your chandeliers, your, lights. It could also be used with your cushions, your accessories.
Yeah, basically using them subliminally.
Yes.
Let's move on to Tarun from New Delhi. He says, I want a cool and a peppy feel for the wall without using wallpaper or paint. What is the option that is available?
You could have different kinds of, wall art done. You could have wall decals, wall tattoos. That's something which is, really cost effective. You don't need to plaster the entire wall. It could be your existing wall and you could just add on to it instead of, scraping it off and creating a base for wallpaper.
Let's move on to the second last query. Tarana from Mumbai writes in mentioning that she has an entrance foyer of 7 feet by 6 feet, which has a shoe cabinet. She wants to know how can she accessorize the remaining space on the walls in the foyer.
So for the foyer, what she could do is, if she, considers one wall for this shoe rack unit, she could take it up to the height of 3 feet and treat it like a console unit, and bring in some green planters on it, add a little mirror, so to add some interest to that one wall.
With that, we come to our last query of the day, and it's sent in by Kaushik. He says, I'm shifting into a rented apartment. I want to buy furniture which is budget friendly and high on utility. How do I plan my furniture?
First of all, what he needs to do is, he needs to come up with the layout. I mean, plan where what exactly he's going to place, and check sizes, where what fits exactly. Then go online and pick furniture which is, exactly the similar dimension, because that's going to be the key. He could go online on stores like Urban Ladder, Fab Furnish, and he'll have varied options to choose from.
So Kaushik, you can do it online, but what you need to make sure is that you measure, you plan a layout, and then you go ahead with your choice of furniture.
Right.
Well, on that note, Kumpal, thank you so much for spending your time with me. I have to say that it was quite a learning to see someone, have a different take, or rather an unconventional take on luxury. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Well, here's hoping that you enjoyed the show today, and here's also hoping that you actually go out and experiment with all the tips and suggestions we gave you today to give your house a different twist. We'll be back next week, same time. Until then, take care and keep watching The Interior Show.
You can watch live TV on our website mbnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Magicbricks Now. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at Magicbricks Now. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/Magicbricks Now.